Hi everyone, this is your practice problems video for triangle congruence criteria. We're mostly going to do some marking on diagrams here to figure out what our triangle congruence criteria are. So hopefully this video will be pretty short. Okay, so let's take a look here. Okay, so question 1 says, which conditions do not prove that two triangles are congruent? There are two of them. Okay, those are angle, angle, angle. And the second one is SSA. Okay. All right, so let's look at number 2 here. Okay, so in this diagram, we have that AB, side AB is congruent to side DE. Angle A is congruent to angle D, and angle B is congruent to angle E. And they're asking which triangle congruence criteria applies. So I need to do some marking of my diagram with the information that they gave me. So they said AB is congruent to DE, so I'm going to mark AB and DE both with one congruence marking, okay, to show that they're corresponding parts that are congruent. They said angle A is congruent to angle D. Okay, so I'm going to mark those. Angle A is congruent to angle D. And then the last one, they said angle B is congruent to angle E. Okay, so just looking at this, I have two angles and one side. Okay, and it's not a right triangle, so I can eliminate HL. It's not that one, right? And then two angles and one side, the only one listed here that has that is ASA, right? So it's two angles, right? An angle here and an angle here with a side trapped in between them. So angle, side, angle, okay? All right, so let's see. There's just two more here. Okay, so this one is a little bit different. Okay, but we're still going to mark our diagram. Okay, so I have these two triangles. They say angle B is congruent to angle F, so I'm going to go ahead and mark that. B is congruent to F. Okay, and then they said that BA is congruent to FL. So BA is congruent to FL. Okay, and now what they are asking is which statement of these do I need to show that the triangles are congruent? So right now I have two things. I have an angle and a side. And so I need a third thing. I either need another angle or another side. Okay, so I can eliminate this one right off the bat, okay, because that's not going to tell me anything. I need to know one more side or one more angle, okay? So let's just take a look at these kind of one by one and see what they would tell us. So if I have angle A is congruent to angle L, so I would have A is congruent to L, and that would work, right? That would work because that would give us angle, side, angle, right? So that one would work. Okay, so I'm thinking one is probably the right answer. Okay, but I want to check these others to see if these others are going to be correct or not. Okay, so let's change our colors here. For 2, they said AT is congruent to LU. Okay, so this one does not work because this is side, side, angle, which is one of those that does not work, right? SSA. So that's not right. Okay, so let's erase those because I don't think that's correct. Okay, and then the last one that I have here is angle A is congruent to angle U, which is not correct, right? If you look at the congruence statement, A doesn't match with U, right? That's not correct. A should match with L, right? So this is wrong because the parts don't match. Okay, so this would be our correct answer here. I need angle A is congruent to angle L, right? Okay, so in this last one, okay, I want you to give this one a try on your own and see if you can figure this one out, okay? Keep in mind that they are talking about a bisector here. HK bisects IL, so that means you're going to have two congruent parts here. Okay, so take the information they have here and mark the diagram and see if you can figure out which one of these would be the most direct way to figure out that these triangles are congruent. Okay, and check back with me in just a moment to see if you got your answer correct. All right, y'all. So I hope that you got the same answer that I did, but I'll kind of talk you through how I figured this out. So in this picture, I had two pieces of information. They said HK bisects IL, okay, meaning I don't know if HK, if that segment is cut in half, but I know for sure that IL is cut in half. So I can mark IL with its two congruent parts, right? So this half IJ and this half JL are the same length. So they're marked with their little congruence marker, okay? And then they said angle H is congruent to angle K, which I marked here and here, okay? Here and here. So once I had that, I knew I needed one more thing, right? I had a side and an angle, and I needed one more set of corresponding parts. The only one that I could know for sure, the only angles that I knew for sure were congruent is these right here. The ones that I have marked in green. And the reason I know for sure that those are congruent is because they are vertical angles. Okay, so if you are not given three sets of corresponding parts that are marked as congruent that you can easily use to identify if your triangles are congruent or not, look at the diagram and see if you can mark anything else just based on the diagram. So like here, I was able to mark just based on this diagram that these two angles are congruent because they're vertical. Another common one that you'll see is maybe two triangles that share the same, that share a side, kind of like these right here, right, that share a side, or you'll have a bisector, like I said, like we used here. Okay, so that's a common one that is used a lot when marking these diagrams. So in looking at this now, I have two angles and a side. So this is angle, angle, side, right, because the side is not trapped between the two angles. Okay, if you chose this one, ASA, that side would have to be right here and right here. So trapped between the two angles, that would give you angle, side, angle. Okay, so this one is angle, angle, side. All right, y'all, so that is it for this video. In the next two, I'm going to do some examples of how to do triangle congruence proofs. But if you can do this, if you can mark the diagram, the proof part of this is mostly just listing out all of the steps and the things that you did in marking the diagram. All right, so I will see you all in the next video. Bye, everybody.